Q&A. Thank you very much for joining me so far. I'll be back with you in about 15 minutes.
Sorry, just wanted to liven things up a little.
That was unexpected. Jumped.
Okay, welcome to the Q&A stream today, guys. Today we're joined with Mod Swin.
Hello.
Mod Ash.
Hello.
Mod Wolf.
Hello. I forgot.
No, I was going to say your first name. Mod Kieran.
Hello.
And myself, Mod Archie. So your mod name is your first name, so
I'm easy.
you're getting tricky.
Anyways,
Anyways,
that's straightforward.
Mod Ghost has been streaming the design stream of the Dragon Slayer 2 for some time now. He's running for a quick break, but he will be back. We'll be running over to him every 50 minutes or so. So I guess keep your questions for Dragon Slayer 2 coming. At RuneScape with anything in the chat, Mod Maz will be grabbing them and posting them for us. But before we can get anywhere today, we're going to talk about King of the Skill. Do we have a progress update for it?
Yeah, I just want to run over some of the, I guess, the more interesting high scores that have been coming through so far. I mean, the main category of total level, I mean, the highest right now, and has been for a few days, is 1474 total. Guy, I think his name is Noons? Am I right? I didn't write it down. Second is 1457. That gap is getting closer. So do give it a go. That high score on total level can be beaten. People are still sorting out the strategies. I know a few streamers are looking at it.
I think right now it's Foe versus Wooks. That's what I'm interested in.
Wooks is going to be an interesting one. But yeah, give it a go. Work out your strategy. Try it. But looking at some of the skills, like some of the more, I guess, more straightforward skills like fishing, which currently the highest is a guy called KOTS Pause. He's at 21.3 mil fishing XP before he hit his 24 hours.
Wow.
That's a lot.
What has he done?
I don't know what he's done.
We released his
but I
strategy.
imagine fishing would be get to barb fishing as soon as you can,
yeah.
right? And progress there. Agility, the infamous Jebram, of course, is number one on agility. No, who else would you expect? But he's actually the only person to reach 99 in agility. 24 hours, 99 agility, which is pretty bonkers.
Well, if there's going to be anyone does it, would be that one.
It would be. But close. Second is close, only 300k behind. I reckon it can be beaten. But I don't want to do perfect agility laps for 24 hours. Not myself, I couldn't crack that. Looking at some of the harder skills, like construction, there's a guy called Solo Mission. He or she is rank 1. 89 construction only. So you're not even getting close to 99, despite it's a fast skill, but it's very difficult to actually get hold of your.
I recognise the name. I think they have a YouTube series. I'm not 100% certain, but
might well do.
Yeah.
Herblaw is well known as a very difficult skill for Iron Man, and Darcy 927 is currently rank 1. They've got 76 Herblaw. Wow. So you only need 76 Herblaw if you want to win rank 1 for that. But my God, I don't know the strategy for that one. Difficult. You're talking farming seeds could be a route to getting herbs. You could be looking at kingdom, that sort of thing. Secondaries are tough to obtain.
Yeah.
So. It's been really interesting, actually, the YouTube series in specific. Like, I've just found myself finding one YouTube video on the melee route, for King of the Skill, and then I find in the related, there's like a dozen other videos. So if you're interested in King of the Skill, and you maybe want to go your own way without any advice, then fair be it. But if you go on YouTube, you're going to find a lot of very useful guides to hopefully push yourself.
Lots of people have made their strategies public. Like, if you see somebody get rank 1 and their strategy's public, copy their strategy and work out improvements, right? That's what it's all about. And the last one I want to shout out is Magic, a guy called El Chapo DMM.
Yep.
And he's hit 14.25 mil Magic XP and is a little bit above the rest of the pack. And I'm not going to release his strategy because I doubt anyone. But if he is in that position and accept his strategy secret, I doubt he wants it leaked. But it is interesting. I thought we were shocked by what this person had chosen to do. So
it's working for him. Definite clickbait there for when it's released.
I don't know. He might have leaked it. I don't know.
I'm surprised to see people PKing.
Yeah.
You see a friend's new video. He went to Wilderness God Wars and there was a PK. I was like, somebody's PKing on this? What? It's crazy.
Interesting though, and I can't wait to see how it goes on. We're only 8 days in. It's the 8th of November, right? Like, there's still another 3 weeks left of the month. Give it your best shot. Servers close 30th of November. Choose a skill.
Yeah,
go for it.
Plenty of amazing rewards, and it'll be really interesting to see who can break. I think 1,500 total. Do you have any
Not far off.
predictions as far as how far people are going to get? I think rank 1 right now is 1470 or so.
1474. I reckon that. So I'll hit a guess then. Let's write. I'm going to write all everyone's suggestions down.
Okay.
Guesses.
I
I'm
think
gonna
someone's
go
going to
for-
get.
Well, you go first.
Yeah, 1550.
1550. Right, I'll go.
So that's only an increase of 80 currently.
Yes.
And bear in
I'm
mind,
gonna
we've got
go
like 20
for-
days left.
Yes.
I'm going to go for 1620.
You know, 1620.
That's a big increase. Wolf.
I'm going to do 1570.
1570.
If someone gets over 1600, like, I'd be very shocked.
Ash, what do you reckon?
1703 is a nice number.
Oh, that's a really big jump.
I would be impressed.
If somebody gets over
I'd be incredibly
1700,
impressed.
I will eat, like...
All
Be
right,
careful what
okay.
you
Yeah,
say.
be careful. I have to follow up on that, don't I? No, I won't. I won't do that.
Bamboozle insurance for
Bamboozle.
sale. Sween?
No,
Oh, no,
I've
I've got
get over 1700.
1666.
You should have said 1701.
1703.
That way you've won unless somebody passes that.
I see a bunch of people putting their ideas in the chat.
This is like the Price is Right. $1.
Prices
All right.
Well, if you go over, you're bust.
Yeah. Next question.
So we'll see. Well, I guess I'm going to keep these suggestions here, and after it's finished, we're going to see who was closest.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sealed away in my book.
We are moving on to the questions today. So Ronnie says, any possibility of an upgraded merchandise line? It'd be great to see collectible figures, cool clothing besides shirts and hoodies, socks to look like the Guardian Purgations, Primordials, etc.
I think everyone wants it. I'm not really sure whose job it is. I know, I know there are talks ongoing at the moment, and we are looking at expanding merch. But obviously, the merch store is run by a company not Jagex.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure who the liaison within Jagex is, but discussions are ongoing. But I'm not sure who's.
Didn't they send an email around yesterday saying we've got a brand new head of marketing or something of the sort?
Something like that.
You know
Maybe to be
what?
that person.
How about
Probably.
it is now your responsibility, Mod Sween. It is your job.
Graceful pajamas.
I was thinking
They
like,
make you go faster or something.
I still think dragon boot slippers. That's
I was thinking
sold
like
out.
at the moment it's freezing in the office, and I was thinking, I really want an old school themed onesie. But I was, what could work, like an Aaron's
Full room.
onesie or something?
no,
Graceful
full
sounds
room.
good. I'd wear a graceful.
It's gonna be
White
full
old man.
room. Or
Onesie.
Aram's.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Could work as a onesie, yeah, I can see that. All right. RC says, can you please take a second look on the upcoming Dragon Plate body and kite shield? Medium level armor seems rather underwhelming for a main drop from the Adamant and Rune Dragons. Obsidian armor was well received because it offered some uses for even high level players. Maybe offer the Dragon Plate body similar bonuses when worn with Dragon Plate legs and the Dragon Full helm, such as damage or accuracy bonuses, special attack reductions, etc. So, full kit effect essentially.
I don't think we went there when we were planning the thing in the first place, but it's always possible to offer additional bonuses to things afterwards. Possibly after launch rather than before, though, so that people actually find out what the damn thing does before it gets redesigned again.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's necessary, but we'd be happy to look into it if people wanted that. I finished doing the balancing of the drop tables for Adamant and Runite Dragons literally yesterday.
Where did you put your file, please? I couldn't.
It's in the QA drop table section. I'll link it to you.
Ah,
if you
thank you.
want
I went looking for it earlier to actually implement the thing.
And when you think about why you're going to be killing them, if anything, those things are just going to be a little extra nicety on top of their drops. They have really good drops, like 100% chances of Runite bars and Adamant bars and the new bones. Yeah, if anything, it was actually kind of hard to get that drop table to a good spot because their 100% drop is so good.
I feel like Dragon has always been a cosmetic kind of look at me, I have lots of money, and also I look really cool. Don't know about changing that and potentially making it competitive with Bandos or Void. So personally, I'm not very fond.
It's always, well, Dragon's tier is traditionally 60, and that's not actually very high.
Bandos is only, 65? But regardless, unfortunately...
70 barrows, right?
Sorry, did I say Barrows? I meant Bandos.
Yeah, I thought you said Bandos, but okay.
Anyways, next question. Andy says, we ever going to add lodestones to the game? Would make things easier.
We've got mini game teleports, and we're releasing more teleports tomorrow with Zaya. I don't think we need lodestones, personally.
I think I agree.
I think lodestones really changed the game to a point. Like, I really disliked lodestones.
The way I see it, like, it's called RuneScape. There should be an emphasis on using runes and magic.
Yeah.
Oh,
And a cape.
We have so many teleports around the game. I
Yeah.
don't see any reason for us to add a free teleport to every single destination once you've been there once.
I feel like lodestones is one of those. Well, I know that lodestones is one of those questions that was asked in the very early stages of the game being released. It was something that came up, and people were just like, "Oh, I hate having to run everywhere and teleport everywhere." But it was extremely disliked, the idea of it back then, and I don't see anything changing in the near future. So,
Yeah.
there you have it.
As soon as you get a decent magic level, you can teleport. Not a problem.
Spray says, Mod Ed and Sween mentioned a dev blog about combating bots 2 months ago. What happened to this?
It was expanded to cover a number of other topics. Essentially, it's become like one really meaty integrity post. Looking at get it out on Friday, I sent across a draft before I went away. I came back, I received some feedback, and I'll be implementing that feedback over the next few days.
You were gone for a while, actually. Let's talk about that. How was that? You went to America?
I did go to America.
Yeah, you went to Boston, New York. Had a good time?
Yeah, man. I was itching to get back and get stuck into work. So I saw how hard one of these it was working. I felt quite guilty.
Yeah.
Being the only CM resource here. But also, I did not want to come back because I had a great time.
You dressed up as Johnny Bravo.
I did dress up as Johnny Bravo for Halloween,
Did it?
yeah. That was cool. Going on the New York subway in costume and seeing everybody else in costume was unbelievable. So
Yeah.
obviously we don't
Halloween is so much bigger over there.
we don't have the Halloween culture
Yeah.
here. You might see like a morph suit at a club, but that's pretty much it.
I've never been to a club and seen one of those, but okay.
Pick. Everyone's asking for a pick. It's on your Twitter, right?
Yeah, I think it's my pinned tweet. I was like, have a look.
There you go. At JackXSween. All right, moving on. RuneScape stuff. Dragon says, can the Mining Cape perk be buffed to also have a chance at double rune? Right now it's worse than the Varrock Plate Body 4, which seems silly. The Varrock Plate Body 4, that is, has a 10% chance to double ore, whereas Mining Cape has 5%. So it'd still be worse, but would also make the Mining Cape perk actually useful. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think the answer is yes.
The
I wasn't
arguments-
willing to gamble
Oh.
on the chat.
They
prediction.
don't seem to want it.
Mod Ryan in the chat says no.
They don't seem to want it. I don't want to gamble the chat on that one as well. Yeah.
This is one of those ones where I think I'm confident in saying it. None of us are avid runite or miners. So this is one we leave to the community, I think. Lord Gozer says a few minor F2P updates. So make Enkus found in the wilderness drop death runes on free-to-play worlds. Let's do one by one. That idea? Yes, no?
I presume they don't drop it because of bots, perhaps, or
Honestly, I'm not sure of the kind of route to get death runes in free to play. I'm not familiar enough with free to play. I'll happily admit that.
you have to remember whenever you make something free to play, it makes it more accessible for botting as well. And
exactly.
I'm not personally happy at the concept of giving death runes as a drop of a creature that's relatively easy-ish to farm.
Okay.
If you want to run through the suggestions, I'll go away after the stream and have a look at how it would actually affect the game.
Okay, you go away and I'll give you suggestions. Free-to-play PvP world, perhaps where only free-to-play world where teleblock is available. Teleblock in free-to-play has been pulled and failed,
A few times.
so we're not just going to sneak it in. Free-to-play PvP world, my only worry would be detracting from the wilderness. While it might liven things up for the initial weeks, I would worry about the long-term longevity, I guess, of the wilderness, whether it's going to take away from that.
We could open one for a fixed period and
Yeah.
say we'll go away on a certain date and see what the traffic's like before and after that time.
I like that.
That's the kind of, and well, we get data, they get to play on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Do we need a special reason, or should we just randomly do that? Maybe a dry week?
Well, we could do it. We've got the control of the thing. I think we should probably have the QA team try out what one does before launch, rather than just turning it on and seeing what happens.
That would be fun in itself, though.
But yeah, we could just
Uh,
try it for a couple of weeks and see what the traffic's like.
Even better yet, we could release it untested. That sounds fun.
Yeah, with PvP enabled,
Yeah.
where the players can go and find out for us what it does.
Right. Extra hill giants, relatively close together, south of the Hobgoblin Mine. The ones already existing spawns far from each other, which makes running back and forth hardly worth it. Just camping a single spawn.
It's the player saying move them close together.
Add more and move them closer together.
I don't have a problem with that.
How many are there currently? I don't know.
I feel like if you were going to kill hill giants, why not just go to the ones that are west of Varrock?
In a dungeon?
Yeah.
Very crowded.
Not for free to play. I guess to summarise all these points, because there's going to be a few more, I imagine.
You know, there's many more. I'm going to skim through them very quickly after your response.
Essentially, to summarise, a good response to all these would be: we're releasing Corsair Cove soon, and Corsair Cove is a free-to-play area which you have polled for. That we'll be adding new content. We're adding ogres. You saw the cave being made a couple of weeks ago on a design stream, and I'm going to be testing that in a couple of weeks. I believe Asher are going to start work on it soon. Perhaps.
In a couple of weeks, I think it was.
So we are working on making free-to-play a better experience for free players already. But
You mentioned the maple tree, yeah?
yes, there's maple trees there, more skilling resources for them that are free-to-play. I think we're working on that.
I think the maple tree is probably the most significant of the things
Yes.
because it's unique to it.
It's the first time you can get maple. Well, you can chop them in free-to-play.
Give the Skull Scepter imbued +10 magic attack and defense and make it available to auto-cast Crumble Undead. Add an anvil in the eastern ruins and wilderness next to the furnace. And add an anvil in Crandor. And the ability to make studded armor and coifs. There's a lot of free-to-play stuff this week, actually.
It'd be nice to do more with studs. That sounds awkward. But we've got this item in the game and you can't do a heck of a lot with it.
And the coif. Why can't they make the coif?
That is kind of silly. I'd like to change that if we could change that as a poll.
That is ruining my nostalgia.
I'm sorry. That's a fair point.
For what it's worth, the leather crafting interface is ugly. It's badly aligned, it's got dodgy click zones. I'd have been quite happy to work on it when I was doing May Call, but it already had a May Call, so I left it alone because I didn't have a pressing reason to mess with it. But it is ugly, and I'd be quite glad to change it. Could replace it, in fact, with the chat box version of the menu so that people can use keyboard shortcuts on it, which they currently can't.
Right, moving on to the pay-to-play questions. Right? Galaxy says, allow players to keep their first ever skill cape untrimmed. This is, again, one of those ones that's come up a bajillion times. Are we at a point now where we feel this is... Has our answer changed,
The problem is
basically?
that we can't do it for the people in the past.
It has not become possible suddenly in the intervening years to identify which was there first. Asking the question again a few months later is not going to have that changed, I'm afraid. We just don't know which was there first.
We could do it for future people, but the past we will not be able to identify and say, you got Slayer as your first 99 and since got others.
I regret this. I mean,
That
it'd be really
feels-
nice if we could, because we'd love the feature.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if we did that now, do you feel it'd just feel unfair to the people who wouldn't be able to take advantage of that?
It feels pretty unfair if we let new players have a prestige item and anyone who got in on the ground first and worked for it faster is excluded permanently.
Let's ask our existing players who happen to be in the chat right now, just for general sentiment, if we can stop all this, please. Would you like the ability to keep your first ever untrimmed skill cape untrimmed? Again, this means that if you've already gotten a 99, you won't be able to do this. This will just be for the future. Moving on. Let's grab one from the chat. Question about Halloween. When is Halloween getting removed from the game?
Tomorrow.
It's quick. Another question about the Bandos Godsword. What are we doing with it?
Well, we polled a buff to it. We have since developed the buff and had the buff tested, and it's coming out.
Tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes.
There you go. Why is your primary way to oh, this is a big question. To rejuvenate the wilderness, pushing for PVMers and skillers going there? This is a typical response. Essentially, we have a community which is majority PVM and skilling, extreme minority being the PvPers, and we're trying to put something in to help revive that PvP community and appeal to them But in the same respect, we need to also respect the current majority of players,
Yeah.
right? We can't dedicate a lot of our dev resources to only doing PvP for a very long time. And also, I don't know, we've tried that in the past with Last Man Standing. We've got things coming in the future, which will be more PvP orientated. But for the time being, the wilderness, I don't know. Do you want to help me here?
I think
This is a really...
I think honestly, it's one of those questions that they've asked to almost egg you on. Like, truthfully, I think they know the answer. The answer is almost in itself the question, which is, well, people are going to go into the wilderness because of that content,
Yep.
Yeah.
which is why it is a part of the wilderness rejuvenation. PKs need people to PK, so we need to bring those people in.
Loot got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
If PKs exist purely to exchange items between each other, then it's not going to work out very well for them in the long term. If there's other people going in there and losing stuff to the PKs, then there's a source of stuff. Many people say, well, why don't we just bring back EP? Because that generated stuff for the PKs. And it did, it really did, lots of it. And there was a massive influx of cash into the game, which is not going to do the game any good in the long term, I'm sorry.
I feel, to be completely honest, I feel that the current way for many, at least the hardcore players, to play the game is the most efficient way. They want to be making the most money per hour, the most XP per hour, of course. And PKing is simply not that. You're not going to make the most money per hour. It won't come close to it. You're not going to make very much experience per hour. So it's kind of a fun on the side thing that people do just for fun. Now, some people get hooked on it and they want to continue doing it, and that's all that they do. That's kind of me. But we need to create updates that people will actually want to play, obviously. It's very tricky. Unfortunately, I don't think we'd be able to get through the answer within this stream even. But
One thing I will say, like on the topic of the wilderness rejuvenation, is try to work with us. I've seen so many people say, you're just going to keep repolling us until it passes. That's not what we're doing. That's why we looked at the blog I used to put out with a revision yesterday, I believe, the rewards changes. Lots of changes were made. We decided to ditch the van braces because we listened. It's not a case of us just repolling until it passes. We're actually listening, like engage in dialogue and help us.
We can't release content with no reward. It's just like when we did raids. Like, you wanted raids, but the rewards that were originally pulled you didn't want. But then we can't just make raids with nothing. Because
So we offered you something else, it turned out you did want it.
Yep.
it's not to say PKing isn't getting love, honestly. The wilderness just is also a place for PVMers. We have wilderness bosses, we have a skilling area, etc. The PvP arena is something that I've talked about in the past. I mentioned at the PvP championship we did earlier this year. And that's something that I'd love to be able to see coming in 2018, and potentially more PvP championships and other events surrounded around the idea. But yeah, we're going to move away from the PvP stuff for the time being. If we can bring back that straw poll, we asked you guys if you'd like the ability to keep your first ever untrimmed skill cape. There we are. Of course, this would only apply to the future. 54% of you say no. So there you go. People saying, if I can't have it, nobody can. Pretty much.
Well, you know, in a game that tends to celebrate longevity, especially its own, but we recognise we get asked for veterans capes and the like. It would be a shame to exclude any existing player from something of this nature.
Right?
speaking of longevity, I only realised the other day when Mod Stone raised it, like, we're not very many months off having 5 years of old school, which kind of blew my mind.
And I believe he was making plans for how to mark this appropriately.
Yes.
Yeah, when we talk about plans, we're not talking about even months now, we're talking years in the future. Game's going very strong right now. But next question, here we go. Herb says, can the community take another look at lucky implings? They're untradeable and locked behind 89 Hunter with 99 to catch them barehanded. Look at videos of people looting them and you'll see that they give absolutely trash loot and for how rare they are. Acquiring 10 jars takes over 10 hours, and from my experience, you're lucky to get maybe 400k from them.
Sounds like the impling is lucky, but you are not. It's rather sad, really. We've said before that we would be happy to, cut down on the number of resource drops they've got and focus more often on the things that are unique to treasure trails. What we don't want to do is make a blanket promise about, cutting all the resources out or cutting, it down 2/3 of the time until we've had a chance to actually trawl all the loot tables that this would result in and see what kind of wealth would come into the game if we did it. And that's not a quick thing to do, and we haven't done it yet, I'm afraid, so we don't have an answer to exactly what we'll do with them.
He asked potentially add a reward casket from one of them with clue scrolls at random.
It's a casket that contains clue scrolls.
Mm-hmm. Drop a reward casket from one of the clue scrolls at random.
I think it's worth checking how many lucky implings are actually used each day. I mean, if you go back to, I can't remember, what was it? Who was the NPC who came a few years ago and gave out clue scrolls?
Big Mo.
Big Mo.
It might be interesting to
that was
see the
November last
effect that Big Mo had. I think
October.
it'll be something similar, right? It'll be more clue scrolls coming in. So we need to actually look at the data.
That was a fun month, actually, just to follow it. But, yeah.
It was an impressive graphic. I would be glad to be able to dig out the graphic of Big Mo again and have him do something. Maybe not that, but something.
Some questions in the chat, actually. Some of you guys maybe weren't here this time last year. For the entire month of, I believe, November, we had Big Mo, who was a new NPC, who would give you a clue scroll every day when you walked up and talked to him. It would be, was it randomly generated? It could be easy, medium, hard, etc.
It was May. You chose your tier.
It was May?
Yeah.
Wow.
2015. May.
No way! Wow.
Yeah.
I am not paying attention to the time.
That's before I joined Jagex, yeah.
Well, yeah, you could get a clue scroll off him every day.
Yeah.
And
That's crazy.
at first, you had it was a completely random one, but the more you bought from him, the higher the chance was that you'd get the tier you asked for.
Right.
So towards the end of the month, if you wanted elites, you got a better chance of getting them.
Goes to show time flies. It's crazy.
It does.
That was such a pure reaction. It was very. It was
Well,
funny.
it's genuine. I can fake it, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow, May, I'm hardly impressed.
Well, it is, the thing is, I think we implied at the time that he was from Zaya, that mysterious continent that hadn't been seen at the time. And, well, maybe he is from Zaya, but no one on Zaya looks anything like him.
We had a little Mo, and that was to do with the... What did we do with him? We had him
The
running
April
around the
Fool's
map.
event.
That's right. We had him running around the map with locations... Sorry, I'll be quick. With locations that we gave him no context. We gave him no hints as to where he was. It was like, he'll be next to a tree. And somehow they found him within like 30 seconds.
So we made him appear in the game for April Fools.
Yeah.
And he was sort of sending you on a quest to deliver packages for him because he'd been asked to do something a bit more exciting. And if you look at what he says he's doing, you work out that he's apparently doing Wild Gothic sleeps. And your man delivering packages for him. You take it to that man by that tree somewhere, who turned out to be on Moosa Point, or that guy in the wilderness, I think he used. And you had to deliver packages to all these people. And every time he came back, Little Mo would tell you what he'd been up to. Like, yeah, so then these big burning demons turned up, and I touched a big boulder, and now I've got these strange red glove things that you can have. And he gives you claws, because he's apparently done that quest in your absence while you've been carrying packages around for him.
And so he snuck fake dragon claws into the game.
I think Mod John is credited with that story. It was a fun troll, and
It was
I was very
eventful.
impressed by how quickly people solved the impossible riddles.
Let's do one quick question, then we're going to head back over to Mod Ghost maybe for a progress update. Yes? Yes, we will do that. All right. Heisenberg says, can you make the weeds regrow in Keldegrim Hops patch? Although it's a quest patch, this is different behavior to every other patch in the game that I know of.
So this is Heisenberg, the person who lives underground.
Oh, yeah.
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 So I think every week now there's a question like underground related.
Sorry, was that the hops, the Kandarin?
There's a farming patch in Keldegrim, and it doesn't
yeah.
bother executing growth code once you've completed the quest, which means it will probably stop in a completely arbitrary state, because, well, the developer didn't have any reason to make it do otherwise. Yes, we could re-enable the farming timer for it once after you've done, regardless of your quest state. I think fat lot of good it would do you, but we could. Maybe he wants the weeds.
Who asks this stuff, is what somebody said. This is somebody who's chosen to limit himself to only playing underground.
Oh, so he actually does want the weeds.
Yes. He wants anything that we can give him that's underground. Is he? I don't. Whatever. All right. Let's see how Mod Ghost is doing with Dragon Slayer 2.
Put my mic down so you can hear me. Right, so this was the concept that you probably all seen as part of the marketing imagery. We also showed it at RuneFest too. So throughout the course of today, I've been creating the main sort of body and the tail, and this is what I've got here. You can see up in the corner. I'm just going to expand this window, or luxury. You can see the concept and the 3D model at the same time as me talking. Now I'm just going to export this into Jagged as well, just so you can kind of just have a few minutes of seeing how this is coming along. So let's just export that, save, yes please. Okay, let's expand Jagged. There we go. So if I just delete that old one and load in this new one. There you go, so I've started adding these spines that are running down its back just here. What I've also done is added these cuts in just here. Let's just go back to this one because it didn't save properly. Ah, the joys of live 3D modelling. Export. Save. Yes please. Okay, let's try again. Okay, there we go, you can see the ridges now. So what I'm going to do is just select these on the back just here, and just, you can kind of see how the details are going to start slowly trickling in. So we're just going to be adding these spines over the next sort of 15 minutes. So next time you come back to me, hopefully all this detail on the back shall be filled in and added. Thank you very much.
Well done. Can you actually tell me what you told me before the stream about why he has 4 legs?
Right. Well, Mod Ghost was telling me earlier when I was on hanging out on the stream that the way he models this, the basic shape of the dragon, is to model half of it and then press the mirror button, which generates another half to match, which saves him a heck of a lot of work doing, you know, 2 hind legs, 2 sides of the body, 2 sides of the head, etc. And of course, he'll introduce, you know, asymmetry once he's got the basic shape in place, but he can save himself a lot of time by just modelling half the body and mirroring it. And of course, that means it's going to have a symmetrical number of legs, because he can chop off the spare one later in development when he's finished using this mirror mode. So he does know that it's only due to have like 3 legs, but he just hadn't quite got to that bit yet.
Right.
He's a very long boy.
Long boy.
He's now known as Mod Lazy to the community. Unlucky, Mod Ghost. They call you Mod Lazy. Oh, you're either Mod Lazy or Mod Efficient.
It's efficient gains. You guys should be in favour of that.
Efficiency is just being lazy effectively.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
Productive laziness. That's the way.
Vomit says, an Abyssal Dagger buff failed by only 0.3% 2 years ago. Can we see a buff repolled?
We did discuss one for a recent poll of a few buffs. I think in the end we buffed other things, but we were up for doing it.
I didn't know it was that close to passing. If I knew that was the case, I might have pushed towards buffing it a bit more.
I'm interested to know why it failed, actually.
The Abyssal Dagger is already a very strong strength training weapon. That was kind of the purpose. Everybody's looking at the special attack and going, well, it's crap, and particularly comparing it to the DDS, which, yes, it is worse than the DDS, but it wasn't really intended to replace the DDS or be significantly better. I think it was just kind of supposed to be rivaling. It obviously isn't as good as I think it was meant to be, and we're however many years now in the future. What, 2 years after Abyssal Sire?
Just as the whip isn't a spec whip, the dagger isn't a spec whip, essentially.
I still would like to see the spec improved personally. I think there's some really interesting ideas, some that sound a little scary. One of the ideas was you would teleport to your opponent if he was near enough to you after clicking the special attack, you know, Abyssal Demons. Then you can just do a basic buff up 10% or what have you, but I think it's worth exploring and repolling, personally. I don't know, we'll see what the community thinks. Not the teleporting idea, we're not doing that, don't worry.
I don't even think it would be plausible to do, to be honest. We don't have the system that
I think it would break the game. Imagine you were fighting somebody that was around a wall, and I don't know. It'll be fun.
It seems like there might be bigger concerns than whether we could program it right as well.
Monmaz has pulled a question. WTH, we are safe, said, happened to Mod Ronan. Mod Ronan's running the stream. Hasn't gone anywhere. He gave us a hey guys. There you go.
We can see him.
Another question from the chat. Starbucks says, can the Puro shop be given a quality of life rework? Currently, you can only buy one item at a time before having to open the shop again.
I can't imagine why anyone would have written it like that on purpose, so if we can do something nice about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. More from the chat, sure. Nev says, will we ever see old agility courses viable again? Right now, rooftop courses outshines the old ones.
One buff we offered for them was to have Grace stop putting marks of Grace on those too. I think it was not popular because people felt that Grace should be for rooftops. We could give them more XP, if that's what was wanted instead, or introduce some other currency that gives some other benefits.
Okay. Tanky, let's do this last one here. Is there an ETA on the Barbarian Assault Arrows update?
A fair few things from that poll have been programmed and sent for testing, but that ain't one of them, sorry.
Right.
So I don't know when that will get programmed and tested.
Okay. Keep the questions coming, guys, just at RuneScape. Let's move along here. Nightfire says, why is the pathing for players and NPCs different? Players will move in cardinal directions before moving diagonally to their destination, but NPCs move diagonally before moving in a straight line.
So the player routing got rewritten inside the engine back in 2013. The main purpose of that change was to make it be server-side rather than client-side. In the earliest days of RuneScape, certainly up to 2007-ish, when you clicked somewhere, your client would work out a route and send that to the server, and it would try to execute it. Now that saved a lot of work for the server to do, because don't want to grind it too much. But the drawback is that if you've got a bit of lag, then you'd end up with rubber banding, and you wouldn't be able to navigate around certain types of things, and it just wasn't very good. Wasn't very accurate because it would be out of sync with reality.
It's one of the earliest things ever pulled, I believe. Just saw that.
Yes, poll 2. And then 9 months later, the engine team was actually able to deliver it. Well, that's why we're a bit cautious about polling things when we don't know whether we'll get the engine dev time or indeed the content dev time in the immediate future, because they've got a lot of other things to worry about at that point.
I'm wowing that you remember it's from poll 2. What else was on poll 2?
I think there was a queuing system so that if you tried to log into a full world, it would put you in a queue rather than making you just spam the button to get in. That one failed poll 2, thankfully, so we didn't have to ask Engine to do it, because players are actually very good at spamming things in RuneScape. They're RuneScape players. And some other content-y stuff that we released without too much complication. But anyway, so there was a rewrite of our route finding to make it be done on the server. And at that time, the guy who did it may not have gone out of his way to make it exactly consistent with how NPCs route find. For a start, players are smarter at route finding. You click the other side of a wall, you walk around the wall. NPCs. So it wouldn't be using that same algorithm anyway. Changing it to make it more consistent doesn't really feel like a benefit. We could, in theory, change NPCs to use a player route finding algorithm, at which point they will start walking around all the walls to get to you if they want to attack you, and you probably don't want to suddenly do that to the whole game.
Fruit says, what is Mod Ash drinking?
This is tea.
Is there a specific type or brand of tea that...
It is Earl Grey, specifically Twinings at the moment, although we're not too fussy about the brand. And this is my tea bag.
There you go. Well,
I hope I picked up that sound too. That would be great. Yeah.
Next question. Giggly says, can we get a better way to collect whiteberries? Currently, the meta is to spam click the single spawn in the Elven Forest.
It's been suggested one could farm them. We could perhaps see what we can do about maybe increasing the yield from that, because 4 berries ain't a lot of berries if you want to do any serious herb lore. I forget what the how much space there is on a bush patch. But we might be able to do something fancy to increase the yield of a bush.
It could have lives, more like herbs.
Yeah,
Could go that way, yeah.
I was going to say pretty much the same thing. It would be really nice if farming level would also dictate it, so you could get more.
In fact, didn't we do that with the grapevines, where you can see the grapes going down, but the number you get is not the number drawn on the graphic?
There's actually another question on your list that I saw earlier
About limpworts.
About limpworts, the same thing. I'd like to do that with the flower patches, and also the berry patches as well. Same thing as herbs, like you said, based on level, having a life system.
Yeah. Chat seems in favour. They're just spamming questions at this point. We have plenty of questions flying in. Lending system, please, to prevent scamming. Was it to prevent scamming? I thought it was to get rid of your junk.
The reason that was first implemented was because there was no free trade. So the core idea was that you can give an item to a friend and get it back later, and circumnavigate the fact you couldn't transfer wealth between accounts. Now, that obviously isn't an issue in this game, but that the lending system brought a whole other element to the game that wasn't so nice, and that's the way you could rent out items for a fee. Mm-hmm. So you would purchase your Armadillo Godsword and get 100k GP per day for lending it out, essentially.
Which, of course, they see as a massive good thing, because they've got the Armadillo Godsword and they want to be able to have the money for no risk. Of course, the drawback would be that that means that anybody else who ever wants to buy an Armadillo Godsword probably can't, because you're very happy renting it for the rest of eternity.
So yeah, all these rare items, all the expensive top-end gear went up in value massively, because there was profit to be made by just owning one, even if you weren't using it.
Buy to rent does pretty nasty things to the value of, well, the asset in question. That's mostly an issue for the property prices around here and around London, but it also applies to Armadillo Godswords. Sorry.
I don't think we need lending, personally. Yeah, no need to really go into detail. Great says, could we get more hill giant spawns in the wilderness, especially the vast hilly area around the east side near level 16 to 22?
This question seems familiar, but
I'm just realizing this is definitely a free-to-play question, so we're going to go to the next one. Hero says, changes for volcanic mining. Toggle the receiving 2 pyro items, waste of inventory space.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Toggle for receiving the 2 pyro items.
Okay.
Waste of inventory space.
We could stop you getting it in the game and decrease their price in the shop. So you'd have to get them from the shop instead.
Yeah.
They're in the shop already, but
there are quite a few here. I'm going to try to get through this quickly. At the end, if your team finishes mining the boulder completely, your team receives a bonus, being 100 points for 350 XP. I think this should be increased to 200 points. This would provide an incentive for your teammates to start mining the boulder as soon as possible, instead of taking it slow. If you're with a random team, you most likely won't finish mining the boulder because everybody is trying to point cap at the start. So increase from 100 to 200 points.
we'd have to look into the effect that it would actually have, because the XP rates the top teams are getting are already pretty good.
Yeah.
When wearing the water vessel, could it be possible to switch remove and throw water to make it left clickable?
I don't know if you actually do that on a worn equipment.
Well, at the moment, I think the Op 1 is defined as being remove, but it would be possible to either insert an exception or shift it down for everything, since I don't think we're using the full range of ops on anything quite at the moment. It will reduce our scope to do that with any future item ever, just so that this one thing can have this one bit of behaviour. But I wouldn't rule it out.
Okay.
It's possible.
Last one, I believe. Speaking of the point cap, there's currently a point cap of 300 points for checking vents and fixing chambers. This causes a problem because everybody is fussed on getting the cap at the start. A solution is drop the cap down to 200 points and to increase the amount of points a player receives from checking vents.
They do still need looking at, because ideally they'd give more points later on as well. So, absolutely. At some point.
When are you aiming to release Raids 2? We have been talking about a potential date internally, but I don't think we're ready to announce anything to the public. But I don't want to say soon. But
2018.
soon. It is still being worked on. Don't worry. It's absolutely massive, but it's not going anywhere.
It's 2018 too narrow a time.
No.
Good.
Do you want to pick a quarter?
I'm not going to. Okay, there you go.
Not sure I know a quarter for it either.
We have 3 large updates pretty much around the same time every year. If you could look back every year that we've done it, I mean, you could guess it's in one of those, and you know Dragon Slayer is.
I'm not sure we actually have, but we'd have liked to.
That's true.
Right. Another question asking about what's happening with the wilderness rejuvenation stuff and the polls. It's been maybe a little bit confusing to follow. Swing, do you want to talk about this a bit?
Yep, so this all went live when I was away, but I've been kind of keeping abreast of the situation. So we put out a poll for wilderness rejuvenation. Some of the stuff's passing, like Rev Caves, Mage Arena, and so on, but the rewards for Rev Caves aren't passing. So yesterday, or the day prior, I forget which.
Yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
Moddy, he spent the last few weeks trawling through feedback, like being really on top of it. So he's adjusted some of the rewards, removed some of the rewards, and he's also looking at other unique suggestions, for example.
Yeah, so
that's pretty much it.
For context, one of the controversial things at the moment is the PvP armors. So with those, as it was in the past, I was unaware of this. I was just using them and wasting them. But after you put on the armors, if you were then to switch to something else, it would count as deducting a minute. And you only have 60 minutes, obviously, to wield this armor, being in combat, I should say. So if you were hybrid PKing and you switched your armor maybe a dozen times, while you might have only wielded the PvP armor for a minute total, it would actually count as 12 times. So that's a little bit controversial, I suppose, for hybrid PKing.
It strikes me that we could almost certainly implement a timer that does not have that issue. If we just didn't, well, rather than having 60 charges, 1 per minute, we use a much smaller granularity. We could make it deduct whenever it detects that you've attacked or been attacked in the last n seconds, and just have a lot more charges going down at a faster rate so that it's more accurate and doesn't have that oddity.
Right. So at the moment,
it'd be easier to program.
as it is right now, or as it would have been, that would obviously have made it really impossible to use for hybriding, because you'd use a set every like 2 fights. So obviously we're not going to be going with that. We're working to find a more fair balance. Obviously, exactly what Ash is talking about. But another thing is rushing. Rushing was a bit of an issue coming up with the PvP armors. I think some of you guys are a little obviously intimidated by rushers putting on the armors, rushing you, and then immediately taking off the armors, and that wouldn't deduct much time from them. So, you know, at least that method would have taken some time off them, but so be it.
Well, it depends how much. We could arguably detect that you were wearing it recently and it's still in your inventory, although that's getting a bit more controversial.
I just saw Mod Matt K challenge me to a 1v1 hybrid fight.
Oh, well. Shots fired.
A 1v1 hybrid fight. I will use my left hand. Blindfolded.
What?
Blindfolded. I've actually voted for Matt on this.
Use your feet. Blindfolded. I'm sure you could still
That's
beat
probably
Matt.
easier.
You'd still beat Matt.
Yeah.
Are we talking about real life fighting here?
No.
Oh, right.
Anytime punk, he says.
All right.
Mate, he still has it on the Rotten Potato. There's still an option that's Matt's PK setup, and it's so old. It's such a bad setup. It's actually kind of funny. I'll show it to you when we get upstairs.
There's a nostalgia thing there, perhaps.
Yes.
Right.
On the topic of rejuvenation, I've seen some people suggest like make PvP polls to change the threshold to pass, like so that then they'd pick a random number out of the air and say make that pass rate, or make it so you need 20 kills in the wilderness. Well, okay, I'm in a clan with 20 people. I'm just going to say, guys, can I borrow you for 5 minutes? Come here, barrage you, kill you. Cool. Now I can vote, and then so adding like an arbitrary number isn't going to solve getting PvP updates through.
It's difficult right now. I think I can appreciate you guys are in a tough spot with this. You have so many people who are so passionate about this stuff. People who really want to see this stuff in the game. So there's a lot of people just basically shouting. You need to filter through absolutely everything, make sure you pick out the points that are actually feasible and make sense, and then bring something back to the community and say, well, this is what we think we can offer you. So that's kind of the process that we're going through right now. And hopefully this will be concluded very soon and everybody will have what they want.
I think the biggest thing... Oh, go ahead, Kieran.
What did people actually think of the negative XP lamp suggestion.
Oh, dude, that's in here.
Oh, we
Spoiler.
We can come back to that.
Shall we wait?
No, we can do it now.
Okay.
All right. Can we get one of the images up on screen, please? We're going to go for the negative XP lamp reward idea from Rev Caves, from Ducks. There you go. We got the meme in there too. Good.
So
That's an
the
old
one
meme,
the
but
one
good
extra I'd add is that the way to stop this being a massive issue is that you'd only let people use this once a day or once a week. So they're not going to be able to be in a position where they can get Barra's gloves on one defense sort of thing, because it would take 40 years or something stupid to do it, right? So
Also, it would cost them a fortune.
Yeah.
He had the price on that at 5 mil.
So it wouldn't help those people who've accidentally gone back to Open Toll, because when they were told they'd get XP in all 4 skills,
Yes.
they didn't quite realise what it meant.
Is there, I'm sure there is, so help me out here. Is there any other reason this would be useful, apart from 2 or maybe 3 defense peers that want to go back to 1? Is there anything else?
I really like this idea because I can't think of any more issues. Like, even if we were to say, oh, you can only use it if you're below 10 defense and you can only use like 10 on your account or something, to physically stop, even if you were to play for 40 years doing 50 XP lamps, like, it's beneficial for me to kill these like the revenants, to get this item, because it's worth bank, because somebody got level 2 defense by accidentally swapping his whip.
Could you
It's
use
brilliant
it
for me.
to get like an untrimmed skill cape for every skill? It's like get it and then go back and then get another one and then go back and get another one and then go back.
Yes. That's a challenge. Somebody's going to do that if we do this now. And what about hit points? Yeah, good question. 10 hit points peers.
I assume you just make sure you couldn't go further than that.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it'd be hilarious if they could go all the way down to 1. Maybe not wise, but hilarious.
Yes. There are
okay.
those old 9 HP accounts, of course.
I mean,
Oh, well back
I mean,
in the day.
some people are saying like, no, but what
Not in
about
old
quests
school.
that they can do and
Old
stuff?
school.
And it's like, well, we put restrictions in on that to stop that being the case. Like, we can do that.
Also, what about Druid's Ritual? If you go and do negative herb law experience after completing Druid's Ritual, can you completely break your account so you can't access herb law
Yes,
properly?
you could.
I thought this was a meme personally, but some people are taking it seriously. So if we could straw pull it for the memes, that'd be great, please.
It's quite a fun hypothetical anyway. Like
Yeah.
trying to think of exploits
Yeah,
for it.
it is a creative idea.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
I used to set my JMod to be 1 HP and wander around as a level 1 account just
Oh, right.
because. Well, it was one way of getting attention before we had Twitter.
Okay, so again, guys, TLDR essentially it's an XP lamp dropped from Rev Caves. It would cost you 5 mil to activate it, and it would deduct 50 experience from the skill of your choice, provided it doesn't conflict with things such as going below 10 hit points.
So there's actually, yeah, as discussed, there'll be a bunch of cases where we probably have to say, you can't use it at the minute. You can't go below 3 here, below.
You wouldn't be able to actually go down very much experience apart from like 1 or 2 levels when it comes down to defense. And there's a limit on how many times you could use it per day?
Limit to how many times you can use it on lifetime on your account. We could put a limit on how
I'd do
often you
that.
can use one, that sort of thing.
Cool.
Like, I do it so like you can only use 10 on a singular account. Like, when are you ever going to need to get rid of more than 500 experience? Usually it's an accidental increase of experience more so than anything.
There's no way this is passing.
Oh my god.
Oh,
What?
It is.
75% say yes.
Huh.
That's
What?
And when dead man, it would give negative 500 XP.
quick. They're feeling generous. Let's offer all of our
There we
crazy
go.
King of the
ideas.
skills in for a surprise.
I really,
Oh, it's just failed.
I want it. I really like it, but I would never have guessed them to have said that strongly yes.
I think
use
they're
a lot of
memeing.
people.
I think they're still memeing. I think if we actually pulled this in game,
I genuinely think this is a reasonable idea.
I do as well.
I don't think it's just a meme.
It's
This
an
is
interesting
actually a reasonable
unique,
idea.
right? It's quite an interesting unique.
Well, a pure would probably like it. Somebody who's not a pure would probably not use it.
But they'd still be happy to get it as a drop and sell it to a pure.
Oh, they're tradable.
Yeah.
I missed that bit.
So they're worth a lot.
Like,
because
that's why it's beneficial to me as somebody who doesn't care about using the lamp, right? Like, it's a good idea.
it devalues my 1 defense peer.
It's tricky when the internet tries to assure you that what it's posting a lot is not a meme.
Yeah.
Well,
It's like saying, I am not being sarcastic now.
well, that's interesting. I guess we have to hang on to the idea because it passed a. Oh, what if we straw pulled? Are you memeing?
No.
72% say no, we're not memeing. That's great.
73%. Brilliant.
He's
Okay.
always me, mate.
We do have more questions, so we will get through them. Here we go. Tel says, could the achievement diary armor be given an overhaul to give it a purpose besides utility? Right now, the only items that have any real combat use are the Arty Cloak and Lumbridge ring. I'm not talking about making them all best in slot or anything, but it would make sense to put the elite gear on par with proselyte armor, seeing as the cloak is currently best in slot for prayer. The only major criticism for this is that it would mean that the armor could be used as zero risk wilderness gear, but if you can complete all of the elite diaries, you probably aren't hurting for good gear.
Let's just make a master clue emotes. A moat clue where it says wear the full elite achievement diary outfit and salute, and then you reappears. You get your next clue. Done. Now it's got a use.
I don't mind the idea of giving it a prayer bonus, like not memeing aside.
It just comes down to like, do we not want to release in the future some new best in slot prayer armor or something? So then adding it to the achievement diary, we can't do it anymore.
Well, I mean,
can
this
we?
isn't going to be best in slot though. It's only
No,
going
best
to
in
be.
slot for prayer. So like, for example, if it's better than proselyte or something.
I have something written up for next Temple Night quest.
What's the word that comes above proselyte?
It's acolyte, yes, and it would be green, I believe, because that's the colour that the people currently wearing who are acolytes in the Knights wear.
And above that, adept or something.
Yeah, at least I think it's something like that. Then you
You're
start
too good at this.
We're quickly running out of time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask if Mod Ghost is ready for another sneak peek. Sure. Let's throw things back over to Mod Ghost with Dragon Slayer 2.
Hello. So before I showed you this concept just here. I'll put my mic down. Hello. So before I showed you this concept just here, I'll move this out of the way. And this is what I had to design today. I showed you earlier on just me doing the horns. I've now coloured those in and fleshed those out a bit. So I'm just adding a bit more detail to inside the mouth here and just adding those sort of straggly teeth in as well. The finished product of this will actually be shown to you on my Twitter account at some point next week. We'll also post it out on the old school Twitter account as well, so you can get an idea of it. You can watch the stream back on Twitch, of course, and also on our YouTube channel at some point. Either maybe on Friday we'll post it up there. We'll see how much time we've got available to do that. Yeah, that's everything from me for the design stream, so I'll just hand you back over to Chris.
Hey. Thanks, Mod Ghost. Again, if you want to check out his Twitter account, you didn't even plug it. It's jagex_ghost. So, when do you plan on posting that, Mod Ghost?
I'm going to post that at some point next week.
Okay.
We're working on it quite heavily next week, so you can also show animations as well. Potentially before. Actually, we could probably in Wednesday's Q&A we can start showing some animations and stuff for it if people are still interested in seeing the design progress.
Yes, definitely.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Don't miss next week's Q&A. We have very little time. A couple quick suggestions with images I wanted to get through. Actually, one of them wasn't a suggestion. If we can get the max capes up first, please. There we are.
Sweet.
So if you didn't see these are the Mage Arena 2 max capes made by Mod Rye. If you have seen them, great. If you haven't, I thought you should see them because they look amazing.
He's essentially inverted them
Yeah.
from what the existing ones are, so there is a difference.
And the last suggestion we have this week is add a secret passage in this Slayer Tower wardrobe to the wilderness.
Well, that would be different.
I know it makes sense, but why would anyone ever use it?
It's
Probably
secret.
not on purpose.
They're not supposed to use it. It's a secret.
It could be the scary thing to be afraid of when you're searching those wardrobes.
I'm just going to say, that is so obviously the newest lure spot for
Yeah.
people to go luring. Like, surely. This guy is
With a
luring.
1 in 1,000, with the 1 in 10,000 chance that you go to Narnia instead.
All right.
That's
Last.
pretty bad now, yeah.
Wait, hold up. Did we like that or no?
Chat loved it.
If
That
they
loved
want
it.
it.
Well, all right. Well, hang on to it. Fair enough. Last question we'll leave you guys with before we end the stream today. Kaiser says, what's the longest RS binge you've ever done? Bathroom and food breaks are okay.
I should hope they're okay.
I'm probably looking at about 2.5 days. With maybe like
I thought 26 hours was bad. I was going to say 26 hours.
basically I used to lead a warring clan, and we had a war for rank 1 on the RSB ladder coming up, and so it was a restricted war, which means it was pre-EOC, so no sigils and nothing like that. So it's restricted in that the gear has to be below a certain tier. Chaotics were allowed. So me and my clan just spent hours upon hours upon hours running dungeons to get chaotics, and obviously we had the war as well.
Right.
War practice
Oh my
and then the war.
God.
Did you win?
Well, yeah, we did.
Nice.
Then we lost the
Worth
number.
it.
We lost the number one.
Were you
following
living with
week.
your parents at the time?
Sorry?
Were you living with your parents at the
Yeah.
time? Jeez, your room would have
It wasn't pleasant,
not
mate.
been pleasant.
It was not pleasant.
Okay,
Did this
unless
cause comments, by the way?
How do you mean, sorry?
Well, you know, if I were living with my parents and then I sat in my room playing computer games for a day at a time, somebody would probably tell me not to.
No.
You could probably cut through the air in your room. But it's like, you're
Somebody-
so foisty.
somebody in the chat saying your clan was trash, anyways.
Oh.
Oh,
Better find
I mean,
his
we weren't
account.
great, but
All right.
somehow we managed to get to the top ladder.
I can't top that. I don't know if anybody else can.
Chris, you got one more image.
I can't-
We do have another image, do we?
The one that you requested last minute.
Throw it up. I don't remember it. Oh, yes.
Oh, I like
you
it.
did get that. Well done. I didn't think we had this one today. Okay, so the idea here is 1 in 200 inferior superiors.
Just call them inferiors.
They're based off of the old nostalgic models, which have obviously been updated since. And just something to kind of, they're not really going to give you anything. They're not going to give you great rewards or anything. They just look old.
I like them. I think
I
they're
love the
pretty
old
cool.
zombies. The old zombies look
Yeah.
so good.
We have an artist in the room. So, what'd you think?
I think that's a nice whimsical touch. I'd like that.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
think we should do it. I like that one.
Why not just
Cool.
call them inferiors instead of inferior superiors?
I don't know. I didn't.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Thank you very much for watching this week, guys. Next week is going to be even more eventful, so do tune in, and we'll see you next week.